My wife believed that I cheated on her, which I never did, and filed for divorce. Now, the court battle for custody was long and brutal, stretching over months. Every hearing felt like a high-stakes game where the prize wasn't money or assets, it was my children. My lawyer presented the evidence we had gathered: photos, witness testimonies, and the recordings of my children's accounts. I knew my case was strong, but the emotional toll of sitting in that courtroom, listening to the lies being spun about me, was almost unbearable. My ex-wife didn't go down without a fight. She doubled down on her accusations, portraying herself as the victim and me as the aggressor. She sobbed in court, claiming she was only trying to protect our children from a dangerous man. It was surreal, hearing someone I once loved so deeply speak about me as though I were a villain in her life story. But the evidence was irrefutable. The private investigator had uncovered more than I could have imagined. She had been neglectful with the kids, leaving them with babysitters for days on end while she partied. Financial records showed she was misusing child support payments for personal indulgences. There were even photos of her engaging in reckless behavior that put our children at risk. As the truth came to light, the tides began to turn. The judge questioned her credibility, and her attorney started to falter under the weight of the evidence. The custody evaluator assigned to our case conducted interviews with both parents and the children, ultimately siding with me. When the ruling finally came, I was awarded joint custody, with a significant amount of parenting time shifted in my favor. It wasn't full custody, but it was a victory. For the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. Rebuilding trust, reuniting with my children on a more permanent basis, was bittersweet. They were thrilled to be with me, but it was clear that the months apart had left scars. They were confused, struggling to reconcile the narratives they had been told with the father they knew and loved. My son, who had once been carefree and full of laughter, had grown quiet and reserved. My daughter, always the more sensitive of the two, clung to me at every opportunity, as though afraid I might disappear again. I knew rebuilding their trust would take time. I made it my mission to create a stable, loving environment for them. Our days were filled with small moments of connection: movie nights with popcorn, afternoons spent at the park, and bedtime stories where they chose the ending. I wanted them to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was there for them, no matter what. I also sought therapy for myself and for the kids. I wanted to ensure they had a safe space to process their emotions and the upheaval in their lives. The therapist helped me understand how to navigate their fears and anxieties while managing my own anger and pain. Slowly but surely, we began to heal. The unexpected revelation months later, as life started to settle into a new rhythm, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from one of my ex-wife's friends, the same friend who had supposedly provided proof of my infidelity. She was sobbing, apologizing profusely for the role she had played in our divorce. Confused, I pressed her for details, and what she revealed left me speechless. It turned out that there was never any proof. My ex-wife had fabricated the entire story, using her friend's name as a scapegoat. She had been the one unfaithful in our marriage, and the guilt had driven her to deflect the blame onto me. The friend had gone along with it out of loyalty, but watching the fallout from her lies had become too much to bear. I was furious, but also strangely relieved. For 2 years, I had carried the weight of her accusations, questioning if I could have done something differently to prevent the collapse of our marriage. Knowing the truth didn't erase the pain, but it gave me closure. I wasn't the person she had painted me to be. Confronting the past armed with this new information, I faced a choice: confront her or let it go. I decided to meet with her, not out of anger, but because I needed to hear her admit the truth. When I confronted her, she initially denied it, But as I laid out everything her friend had told me, her facade cracked. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed. She admitted to having an affair while on the girls' trip and to creating the story about my supposed infidelity as a way to cover her tracks. She apologized, but it felt hollow. The damage was done. Her lies had cost me nearly 2 years of my life, my reputation, and precious time with my children. I told her I forgave her, not for her sake, but for mine. Holding on to the anger would only poison the life I was trying to rebuild. But forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. I made it clear that while we would co-parent for the sake of our kids, there was no place for her in my life beyond that. Moving forward today, my life looks completely different. I've learned to focus on what truly matters: my children, my health, and my happiness. The ordeal taught me the importance of resilience and the strength of a father's love. My kids are thriving now, surrounded by love and stability. They still have a relationship with their mother, but they know that my home is a safe haven where they can be themselves. As for me, I've started dating again, though cautiously. Trust doesn't come easily anymore, but I'm learning to open my heart again, step by step. I've also thrown myself into work and hobbies, finding joy in things I had neglected during my marriage. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. I'm stronger, wiser, and more determined to live a life of integrity and love. A message of hope. If there's one thing I've learned through this journey, it's that even the darkest times can lead to growth and renewal. There were moments when I felt like giving up, when the pain and injustice seemed too much to bear. But I held on for my kids, for myself, and for the belief that the truth would eventually prevail. To anyone going through something similar, know this: you are stronger than you think. Life may knock you down, but you have the power to get back up and rewrite your story. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, fight for what matters, and never lose sight of who you are. Because at the end of the day, the truth has a way of coming to light, and when it does, it will set you free. After months of relentless legal battles, the gavel finally fell in my favor. I can't describe the relief that washed over me when the custody agreement was finalized. For the past 2 months, my children have spent alternating weeks with me and their mother. While it's far from the dream of a united family, it's leagues better than the abyss we were stuck in before. At least now, I have a consistent presence in their lives. Every moment with them feels precious, like a second chance at a bond nearly shattered by lies and betrayal. I've been savoring the little things, the bedtime stories, the school projects, even the spilled juice that turns into a lesson about responsibility. For the first time in what feels like forever, I had a glimmer of hope. I thought I could finally start rebuilding not just my life, but my children's as well. But life has a way of throwing curveballs just when you think you've found your footing. A week ago, I got wind of a party my ex attended while the kids were with me. This wasn't just any party, it was hosted by some of our former mutual friends, people who had chosen her side during the fallout of our marriage. They'd believed her lies, bought into her victim narrative, and cut me out without so much as a second glance. I hadn't thought about them much since. According to multiple witnesses, the night took a dramatic turn when one of my ex's closest friends, the very person who had ignited the inferno by claiming I was unfaithful, got far too drunk and let the truth spill out. Apparently, she'd fabricated the entire story. Every detail, every accusation, every supposed proof of my betrayal was nothing more than a web of lies spun out of jealousy, spite, or maybe just boredom. And she didn't just confess, she laughed about it, mocking my ex for being so gullible, for swallowing the lies whole, and for weaponizing our children in her misguided attempt at revenge. The room reportedly went silent as her words sank in. My ex, who had built an entire narrative around these lies, snapped. She lunged at her friend in front of everyone, screaming and attacking her until others had to pull them apart. The fallout was swift. The story spread like wildfire through our old social circles. Now, my ex is desperate to reconcile. She's been calling me endlessly, sending tearful texts at all hours of the day, and even enlisting her parents and mutual friends to plead her case. I've woken up to long messages about how she was manipulated, how she's so sorry for what she did, and how she wants us to rebuild for the sake of the children. But I'm done. I can't forgive her, not for this. Not for believing lies so readily. Not for destroying our family with fabricated drama. And certainly not for using our children as pawns in her revenge-fueled game. The damage she caused goes far beyond us as individuals. It's etched into the lives of our kids, who were forced to navigate a storm they didn't create. If it weren't for my children, I wouldn't even acknowledge her existence. But for their sake, I've kept things civil. Each interaction, though, feels like a knife twisting in a wound that hasn't had time to heal. And it's not just her that's complicating things. My ex has started showing up unannounced at my parents' house, hoping to find a sympathetic ear. My dad has remained steadfast, reminding her at every turn that she was the architect of her own destruction, and that it's not his responsibility to help her rebuild. My mom, however, has taken a different stance, one that's beginning to feel like a betrayal of its own. She keeps urging me to think of the kids, and insists that children need two parents who love each other. She's even suggested that I forgive my ex, not for her sake, but for the sake of the family. Push down the resentment, she says. Let bygones be bygones. Her words sting. How can she, my own mother, side with the person who put me through hell? The person who shattered my life and nearly cost me my relationship with my kids? It's putting an unbearable strain on our relationship. Every time she brings it up, I feel my patience thinning. I know my mom means well. I know she's coming from a place of love and worry for her grandchildren. But what she doesn't seem to understand is that forgiving my ex, or worse, reconciling with her, wouldn't heal anything. It would only create a toxic environment where old wounds would fester and new ones would form. My children deserve better than that. I've tried explaining this to my mom, but she doesn't seem to hear me. She's so focused on the idea of a happy family that she's blind to the reality of the situation. And the more she pushes, the more I feel myself pulling away. I don't want to lose my relationship with her, but I'm reaching a breaking point. How do I make her understand that her attempts to mediate are doing more harm than good? How do I tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she doesn't stop pushing me to reconcile, she risks losing me too? This isn't just about me anymore. It's about protecting my children and creating a safe, stable environment for them. I've worked so hard to rebuild our lives after the chaos my ex unleashed. I can't and won't let anyone derail that progress. The next time my mom brings it up, I'm going to have a serious conversation with her. I need to be firm but calm, honest but compassionate. I'll tell her that while I appreciate her concern, this is my decision to make, not hers. I'll remind her of everything my ex put us through and explain that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Most importantly, I'll let her know that my priority is and always will be my children. They deserve peace, not a forced attempt at playing happy family with someone who's proven time and again that she can't be trusted. If she can't accept that, then I'll have to distance myself. As much as it pains me to even consider that, I can't allow anyone to undermine the stability I've fought so hard to create. The road ahead isn't going to be easy. Co-parenting with someone you no longer trust is like walking a tightrope with no safety net. Every step requires balance, patience, and an unshakable focus on what truly matters the kids. But I'm ready. I've already come so far. I've fought battles I never thought I could win, endured pain I never thought I could survive, and emerged stronger on the other side. This is just one more challenge. And while it's heartbreaking to feel at odds with my own mother, I have to believe that, in time, she'll come to understand. She'll see that my decision isn't about spite or bitterness, but about love, the fierce, unwavering love I have for my children, and my commitment to giving them the best life possible. For now, all I can do is stand firm, set boundaries, and focus on what truly matters. The rest will fall into place eventually. It has to. Until then, I'll keep putting one foot in front of the other, building a future for my kids and myself, one that's free from lies, betrayal, and toxicity. Because if this journey has taught me anything, it's that sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that lead to the greatest peace. And that's a future worth fighting for. And that's my story, friends. What do you think? Was I right to stand my ground, or do you think forgiveness is the better path? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your perspectives. If you enjoyed this video or found it relatable, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and lets me know you want more stories like this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I share stories like this regularly, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.